Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. I am Siti Narmina binti Haji Muhammad Said with student ID 20B4014. I will be presenting my country report on the Republic of the Philippines for this module, TE4304. For starters, the background of the Philippines. The Philippines has over 7,641 islands, which is located in Southeast Asia. It is positioned north of Indonesia and east of Borneo. We have a coastline which stretches approximately 36,289 kilometers, and we have a diverse geography with marine environment as well. As of 2024, the population stands at around 114 million plus. And for the socioeconomic background, this data was retrieved from a country report of the Philippines that was published in 2012. So from the figure, the Philippines had a GDP of 305 billion in 2016, ranking it third in Southeast Asia, with the services sector contributing the most of about 57.3% of the GDP, with robust growth rate in 2014 of about 6.04% and then in 2015 about 6.15%, as well as 2016 6.92%. So as you can see, there has been an increase in the trend. And the figure here shows the regional real gross domestic product growth from 2003 to 2016 for different regions of the Philippines, including Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, and National. Now, moving on to the outlook results of the Philippines. This is the total energy supply by sources. Transportation remains a key sector in the Philippines, with main road-based modes being jeepneys, taxis, tricycles, and this dominating transport is about 98%. In 2012, the transportation infrastructure of the Philippines spans at around 215,000 kilometers. And because of the transportation being a key sector for the Philippines, oil remains the most consumed energy source. With, however, in this case, as you can see from the figure, which I retrieved from the International Energy Agency, coal is about 1% more than oil, and we will see later on why. Coal's total energy supply in this case was the highest in 2021 compared to the other sources. And here is a figure of the total energy supply by source for the Philippines, or where it shows the graph. So by 1998, coal peaked at around 200,000 terajoules, while biofuels started to decrease. Oil became the highest contributor at this point of about more than 700,000 terajoules. And in the 2000s, wind and solar started to rise, indicating an investment in renewables for the Philippines. By 2021, most of the sources increased except for natural gas, and it was less than 200,000 terajoules, while oil and coal was around 800,000 terajoules. So this trend shows that there's economic growth, industrialization, and the limited alternatives drove oil and coal consumption even more. Now moving on to the total energy supply per capita for the Philippines from 1990 to 2021. Um, this shows the total amount of energy available for consumption per person. In 1993, there was a significant decrease, which from digging off event was due to one of the largest event corruption in the Philippines. So after that, there was an increase in trend and then it decreases with an increase again, which shows a positive trend between the range of years of 2014 to 2016, before it slowly decreased again in 2019. But then finally in 2021, there was an increase again of up to 23,000 megajoules per capita. And looking at the total energy supply by GDP for the Philippines, as you can see, initially from 1990 to about 2000s, there were fluctuating trends, and then it started to decrease to about roughly 7,000 megajoules per thousand 2015 USD in 2021. So this trend suggests that there are efforts towards improving energy efficiency and reducing energy intensity in the economy due to the decrease. And for the total final consumption by source, this is a graph that shows the five main sources in the Philippines, which are coal, oil products, biofuels and waste, electricity, and natural gas. So from here, you can see the line indicated by the green line is that oil products has a high total final consumption in comparison to all the other sources. So this highlights the role of oil driven by the transport sector, because as we mentioned, transport sector is key in the Philippines. And there were, as you can see, there were like a declining trend in the previous years, and this may be due to the weak infrastructure of transportation in the early 1990s. So electricity was also moderately consumed, and in the Philippines, some parts of the areas are high in poverty rates. So this may also suggest why electricity does not increase that much over the years, and it's just moderately increasing. And from the graph, you can also see that biofuels and waste have an increasing trend, which may suggest a growing interest in renewables. And here is the total final consumption graph by sector. Again, you can see that the yellow line, which is for the transport, it has it at 2021, it is at its highest compared to the others, followed by residential, industry, commercial, non-energy use, agriculture, fishing. Now moving on to the emissions by energy sector. So we're looking at the carbon dioxide emissions by sector. The top graph indicated by the orange line is for the Philippines and the blue line for globally. So you can see that both of them have an upward trajectory in emissions, which is closely tied to population growth because over the years, population growth in the Philippines have increased. In 2017 specifically, there was a news headline that stated that it was a milestone for the Philippines to be achieving about 107 million population. And as we all know, higher population demands more energy, which suggests the increase in the trend of the graph. Similarly, you can see here from this graph, in terms of the carbon dioxide emissions, there has been increase, especially for electricity and heat producers. And this relates to the next graph. As you can see, the blue line, coal, is also increasing in a similar trend to the previous graph, which was on electricity and heat producers. This is because the Philippines is abundant with coal resources, so they're using it for this purpose, electricity and heat producers, which suggests the upward trend. And of course, coal emits a lot of greenhouse gases emissions, so it's not good for the environment. From there, in terms of energy indicators, this was from a paper And you can see from the graph over there, it shows the energy intensity, energy per capita, carbon dioxide per energy, carbon dioxide intensity, carbon dioxide per capita. So energy intensity is the amount of energy used per unit of GDP, and from the graph it is expected to decrease by 1.3% from 2019 to 2050. According to the business of usual, energy consumed per capita is expected to rise, and by 2050 it is expected to reach about 1.2 toll per person. Carbon dioxide emissions is also expected to decrease to zero point 0.6 toll per carbon dioxide per ton in 2050. This is driven mostly by improved living standard. So, from what we discussed, here are the policy recommendations. Number one, since the Philippines is largely relying on the transportation sector for a lot of things, including tourism, so most of these policies, both of them are based on the transportation sector. So number one is on comprehensive tracking system. This is a proposed policy collaboration with the Transport Ministry involving installing tracking devices in new vehicles to monitor monthly travel distances. And they will implement fines for people who exceed the predetermined ranges to incentivize sustainable transportation. So when you buy a new vehicle, you will be tracked for how long your traveling distance is, and if it exceeds the range that has been set, then you will be fined. So, in a way, we're trying to encourage people to do sustainable transportation instead by using bicycles, walking. Although the heat in the Philippines is hot, but in the Philippines, especially in the city, Metro Manila, already has MRTs installed. So that may be an option for the public to use instead of using cars. And accelerating transition from ICE engine to hybrids or EVs. So this is a voluntary exchange program with a system of fines for non-transitioning ICE vehicles owners based on emissions. So this policy suggests that people who have ICE engines cars to to change their cars into hybrids or EVs with the government of the Philippines. So by in a way they're incentivizing cleaner transportation options and promoting technological innovations through EVs and hybrids. And that is all for the presentation today. Here are my references. Thank you so much.